I am Iron Man.
Hello there.
Avengers!
All right, welcome to Stars and Marvel, the Stars and Marvel podcast. I guess it's not Stars and Marvel the podcast, but welcome
not?
to Star. Well, why not? Welcome to
Sure.
Stars. Sure, yeah, yeah. Welcome to Stars and Marvel. Today we're breaking down episode 6 and 7, right?
Yes.
There's only
Good job. You got it.
Episode 6 and 7 of the Acolyte. Yeah, it's we were just talking literally seconds before we came on. The name of this episode is definitely going to be Mixed Emotions.
Mixed emotions. I love it. It's a perfect like summary of how I feel. I think my overall, I was still pretty hyped coming off of 6.
Yeah.
And I will say I do kind of want to get into some like fandom discussion things at the end of this episode today, because I feel like the fandom is getting a little too loud right now, and
a little bit, yeah.
And we need to talk about. We need to talk about it because it's getting a little loud.
Yeah,
getting a little loud, guys. But that being said, the episodes themselves, I came out of 6. I was excited. The full spoilers as always. The ending for 6 had me so hyped going into 7, and then you go to the flashback is 7, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this, okay.
Yeah.
And then I think my words I tweeted, I was like, I was disappointed. Bottom line, I was disappointed in episode 7.
That
Action
like,
sequence was
up.
Phenomenal in 7, I thought, though.
Yes, yes.
And we'll get there.
Kanaka, or whatever his name
is.
Oh
my god, it was so cool. I mean, we could just stop, but like,
go.
No, I thought I think, all right, let's talk positive. I will say the Kilnaka fight in 7 was awesome. Like, it was everything. Like you knew there was a Wookiee Jedi in the show, and I thought that delivered the fight we wanted all season.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how you could not have been happy with that fight. He uses his claws because he's hypnotized. He uses his lightsaber. He uses the Force.
I never knew that was a thing, that Wookiees like don't use their claws, because it's like they have like a code they go by almost, that like they don't use their claws.
I didn't know that either, dude.
I didn't know
I hold on. My phone's like, okay. My watch is like, all right. Chillax, guys. What is happening? Relax. Sorry. Oh my god. All right, there we go. No more beeping. All right. I didn't know that either. That's all I was gonna add to that before my watch decided to embarrass the hell out of me. I did not know about that at all.
No, yeah, and I thought that was a cool little tidbit. That, I mean, I guess I found that out more from like a Screen Crush or New Rockstars thing.
I will say, I'm mixed emotions right now, Brendan.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to talk about, because the hotness of me wants to like coming in hot. I want to talk about the bad of 7.
Yeah.
But I think we should go in order and talk about the good of 6 first.
Yeah, I was literally about to suggest that, because I got some
my
good stuff about
cliffhanger
6.
for 7 will be that the Mad Claw of Kilnaka is the perfect summary of, it's cool as hell, but there's reasons I don't like it because it's so obscure.
Yep.
And that's the whole episode. So we'll get to that. Going to 6, which is even like, we go back to the titles, right? 6 has the split title because you have May and Osha separated again, and the title is Teach and Corrupt. And by the end of the episode, you don't know which one is which, and I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess both scenarios could be seen as Teach or Corrupt. So first of all, I really liked the cinematography at the beginning of this episode. Now, I did get this from a New Rockstars breakdown or Screen Crush. I forget which one. I watched both, but when I noticed them say it, I was like, wow, that is really cool. Episode 1 and episode 6 start out with the same exact shot of Osha laying on her side, and the camera's like fate tilted sideways, and then it moves up with her. She like raises up, and like the first episode was her like being brought back by the Jedi and stuff like that. And now this one, she's with
Kymar.
what we know as right now could be a Sith or could be something
Right.
else. But yeah, she's with Kymir. So I just thought that was a cool little throw in thing by the director or
Yeah, no,
cinematographer.
I think there is a lot of that. I also saw that in a
Yeah,
recap. I definitely didn't notice it on my own. I think there's a lot of stuff like that this director, oh, I forget her name, Leslie something.
yeah, I forget.
What's so great.
Well,
But
the what? Yeah, go.
I no, I think she does a lot of homage or takes influence from things, and it's used fairly well, I would
Yeah,
say. And that is a great example of it was done well and looks good when it happens.
yeah.
So
Um,
that's a little bit of praise her ways is all I'm
I
at.
I love that so when they open up on that planet, my first thought when I saw that planet was like, oh, that's the planet Luke was on in episode 8 and 9.
Yeah.
I was like, that's got to be, I forget what it was called. Um, but uh, but from one of the other breakdowns I watched, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, but people think it's the planet of Baldemic. I think it's what it's called, which I
Yeah.
think is awesome because then
Yeah.
that definitely ties a connection to the Sith
Like
with I think that's
Tenebar?
Tenebrous' home, Darth
Okay.
Tenebrous.
I knew it was one of
I,
them. I
I
couldn't
think
remember which one.
I
Sorry.
think
I got excited.
Plagueis.
Like
He does go there because they go. So I remember reading in the Darth Plagueis book, and in the beginning of the book, Tenebrous is still alive, and him and Plagueis go to Baldemic to mine whatever that stuff. I forget, Cortosis, is that what it's called?
Cortosis.
They go there to mine that because it's a hotbed for Cortosis, and there was Cortosis sticking out of the walls in Kymir's little cave area. So I think it's Baldemic. I mean, it makes sense. Whether or not, we'll get into this later on in our talk about the episode, whether or not Kymir is anything to do with the Sith, I think he's something different. But
I'm not sure. I have and see that's something that this episode does a great job. You know what? I'll put it this way: is it Chimera or Chimar? Do we know? Do we
I think
not?
I've heard Kymir
Chimera. All
from
right. All right.
Kymir. Yeah.
Nope. Doing it. All right. So Chimera, I think this episode does a great job of solidifying how good of a character he is, as well
Mhm.
as how well Manny, last name in here, plays him.
Yes.
Um, because in this episode, again, he does a great job of talking with Osha in a way that you're like, okay, she obviously doesn't trust him. I don't trust him because I
Yeah.
now know he's a Sith.
Yeah.
But what are the only intentions we know of is that he wants an acolyte, which
Mhm.
is true. He does want an acolyte, but why is such a
Yeah.
huge, like at one point he says, he left the Jedi Order a long time ago, a really long time ago. It's like, all right, well, dude, you look
How long?
35 at
Yeah.
most, so like how long time ago like are we talking here? Are we talking some Plagueis, Tenebar, blah blah blah, like Sith
Could be.
magic?
Yeah.
Like, because that would be pretty interesting. I'd be a game for that, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, what's his name? Uh, Sidious didn't say Plagueis was the only person to ever use this power. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm
He was
I'm
just.
all for this shit. Like,
Yeah.
tell me this dude is keeping himself, Mother Gothel young, like just he's singing the Tenebarist poem to himself every night to keep him lively.
Just yeah.
It's flowing, man. And I love that. That is like this shit is there is so many weird backgrounds to Chimera that I love.
Yeah.
The issue is we have one episode left, and
And
there's no way
there's
Disney Plus wraps this up.
Oh no! They're gonna wrap up the other story before they wrap up Chimera and his background and everything. So yeah, no way in hell we're getting any more information on him.
No, that's the thing that's a shame because again, he just between the way he talks to Osha, teaching her about like the Cortosis helmet and the material
Mhm.
itself, like everything about how that character acts, he's never seemingly lying, and
Yeah,
he's the Sith. Basically it comes down to Chimere is really well written. He's a very interesting character, and I like everything about what that character brings to the show. But at the end of the day, it's not his show. It's
Yeah,
Osha and May's show. And
exactly.
and and that's it continues to be the weakest part of the show. Like
Osha and May,
Osha
or
and May.
yeah, the
And
main characters.
I
Yeah.
think Osha has a chance to be interesting if she actually does go dark side.
Yes,
Um
that would be awesome.
yeah, I just I I
I
think
think the
go
writers
ahead because
should.
I could
I feel like the writers should have either said, "Hey, we're gonna do the whole story about Osha and May and the witch people, like the witch coven, and the story behind Soul and all the other Jedi going to get them. The bad shit happens, and it's the whole covering that up and facing the truth and yada yada yada." They either should have done that storyline or the Chimere storyline, not
yeah.
both. I think for this show, they should have picked one.
100%. It feels very too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing here. Like you've got a Spider-Man 3 where the producer wants Venom, the audience wants or sorry, no, the producer wanted Green Goblin, the audience wants Venom, and the director wants Sandman. And they're like, fuck it, let's put them all
Roll them
together.
all in.
And then
Yeah.
it's horrible. But that's what like the show isn't horrible. I would definitely
No,
not say that. But I do think the Jedi
misguided.
Sith and the witches don't come together in this show as well as they're trying to make it, especially in these flashback
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah, yeah. The,
Like
the
it almost feels like the Jedi should have showed up just in the flashbacks and that was it.
and that, yeah, exactly. That, and then just left them out the rest of the show.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense. And just have May kill off all of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
instead of leaving Soul alive to whatever. Um, I yeah I I'm so disappointed because I really like that actor, but like
Oh, I know. I
I'm
know.
not a fan of that storyline. I don't care what's going
So
on with him.
so let's so I real quick from I don't know if I have anything else for 6 really. Um
I mean, the ending was really cool. Her putting on the mask.
I loved it. Fuck
That
like
yeah.
I know a lot of for Kylo Ren have been used throughout the show, especially when the
Yes.
mask is on screen.
Mhm.
I the shot not just of her putting it on, which is cool in itself, but giving us the her point of view and
And
realizing
like,
just how uh uh just obscure the vision is in there. And
uh-huh.
then you get the Darth Vader-esque breathing on top of that.
That
Like
was awesome. Yeah.
it is so dark, cool, and I'll dare I say Star Wars. It's
It
like
and
it's
it
really
made
neat having that other side
yes,
happen.
that you get to see their point of view, what there's, and
Yes.
it makes that Chimere fight so much cooler because
Oh my
he was
god.
only using the Force that entire time. He couldn't see, he couldn't hear, he
Yeah.
was clearly just tuned into the Force and was just laying everybody out.
Which also just shows just how powerful he is. Like,
Yes, and like laying out Jedi at the top of their,
uh-huh.
this is like prime Jedi time. Like,
Yeah, it's the only Padawan I think was Jackie. Jackie.
yeah,
Um uh Soul's
I
Padawan.
forget what species, race,
The
whatever.
cool dual wielding one that
Exactly.
dies
Yeah,
against him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was the only Padawan out of all of them. So yeah,
I
like
think so.
again,
Yeah,
like not only was it a great fight, but like the fact that he was that much, like all of his senses were gone.
yeah,
And I know it was New Rockstars that said like, you got the Empire Strikes Back comparison. So for anyone that doesn't know, like Chimere says, you take in there only what you bring or something like that, which is a reference
yes,
to Yoda and the
yep,
cave and Dagobah, which is you take only what you bring with you. And it's again, it's just such a dark side reference. I
yeah.
love it.
I also saw a great comparison. I believe it was Screen Crush. They compared Chimere to Yoda. He's like the dark side Yoda. He was like,
Love it.
he pretended to be like a naive, doofy guy to May at
Yeah.
first, and then turned
Wow.
out to be, the not Sith Lord, but her master. Um, and then he brought in Osha and was like, showing her the ropes, kind of like, but saying it in not so clear ways. You know what I mean? Like saying
Yeah.
it in ways that are just kind of off. So I thought that was a
Yeah,
cool little. And
you know what?
he lived in a cave. He was a little hermit. He was he lived he was secluded on an unknown world.
Yeah, no, that's a great comparison that I
Mhm.
did not think of, but like that all checks,
I mean, I didn't think of
especially,
it either. So just
yes, you did, yes, you did. No, but like especially the aspect of him, like even in episode 4, on their way to, um, holy cow, I already forget the Wookiee's name. On
oh,
their way to Kanaka,
Kanaka, something like that.
Kilnaka. When they're on their way to go have May kill Kilnaka, that's funny. Like he's so extra goofy in that walk,
Yeah.
except for a few weird moments, and it's like that is very Yoda-esque,
Uh-huh.
especially like when Yoda is wasting Luke's time
Yeah.
to test him, and he literally Luke throws the fit. He says, "What am I doing? I'm wasting the time," and Yoda just goes full like he's not ready, and you're like,
Yeah. What? Was this guy all along?
is this old what? This little 2 foot green guy? Are you kidding me? Man, to be alive in the 80s. Um, but yeah, no, I that's awesome. That's such a cool comparison I hadn't even heard. I love it. Um, I guess I have a bunch of more questions, I guess, that came off of that episode that don't really apply, and I think I might just save most of them because all of these I have a bunch of questions from episode 6 just because it's the most recent modern day episode.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that the shame of it is I don't expect answers from episode 8.
Yeah,
And
probably not.
I guess this is a point to talk about that real quick because you know Disney Plus, man. I mean, we mainly cover Marvel and Star Wars. I haven't watched too many other Disney Plus shows. I've been meaning to watch not Prince of Persia, the prince, the
Oh,
not
the
mermaid. What the hell is he? He's
Percy
the
Jackson.
that's the one.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to
Prince of
watch that,
Persia.
but like, yeah, one of them sons of bitches. But like, Disney Plus just has a track record, man. Episode 8 is going to be an action-filled episode, and by this show's record, it'll be a great action
Yeah.
sequence. But like, it'll be an action sequence. We'll get about 5 to 10 minutes of lore dialogue, and then we'll have a cliffhanger for season 2. Which
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I know Leslie Headland is fighting for a season 2 already. I'm sure we'll get a season 2 out of this,
I
and
think so. I mean, they
I yeah.
as negative of a review I've seen the show get from like the core Star Wars audience. I still think they'll get. I mean, Obi-Wan
That's
apparently is getting I don't know if he's getting a season 2 or if they're doing a spin-off or something, but apparently they're doing another something like that. So,
yeah, movie.
and everybody hated Obi-Wan, so
I know. I know. We're the only
I
ones
loved
that
it. I thought it
liked
was
it.
great, but
I have rewatched Obi. I have lost count of how many times I rewatched it. It's every time I get on a plane, that's my go-to. Every single time.
I mean
I love it. I
that's a
love it.
good yeah. It's it's a good time, not time wasting, but like time passing show.
That's what it is. It is comfort food for me at this point.
Yeah.
You are of no further use. Like on. Yeah, I guess if that's I don't know, are we time wise good? I feel like we're still pretty good.
Uh Probably still
Like
good for yeah.
so I guess a short intermission discussion before we get into episode 7.
Yeah.
To talk about the fans that we need to have that sit down moment once again. It's not Marvel this time, it's Star Wars this time.
Yeah, come
And
over,
like
pal. We're gonna need to talk real quick. We're gonna have to have a talk real quick. Come on, pal.
yeah, I know you're growing up and it's a challenging time. I get it. I get you're changing. I've been there too.
There's new
But
writers, there's new producers, there's new directors. It's
some of them are women.
everything's
just stating
I
the
can't.
facts. Just stating the facts. Some of them are. Um, I think the important thing to say here is because both of us are clearly we don't actually know why, but we both have bad tastes of episode 7, and I'm excited
Yeah.
to hear what your take on that is. Why?
Mhm.
But I think a lot of the negativity coming out right now. I mean, I don't think he'll ever watch this. He's got like 3 million views or subscribers, but like Star Wars Theory is a great example. I like Star Wars Theory. I think he's a very like I like a lot of his stuff,
Yeah.
but like his most recent recaps of the show have just been like, this isn't what George envisioned or something like that. And it's like, it's
Well, it's
like,
because
guys,
George Lucas doesn't have anything to do with Disney anymore,
it's not
or
his,
with
like,
Star Wars anymore.
right. And it's like, if your argument, and I'm not saying Star Wars theory, but like the fans as a whole that are just like so butthurt about the show breaking lore, which I don't think it really does.
No,
The
yeah,
only the only thing is the Kia di Amundi, which I don't give a shit, to be honest.
yeah,
But like, I personally would have rather them not bring that in, just because I liked how this was not related at
no,
all.
exactly. This was no
That was,
Skywalker people,
but it has nothing to do with breaking lore. It's just I liked this being its own thing.
yeah, exactly,
Um.
yeah.
Anyway, throwing that out, but like the people that are saying like, oh, this isn't what George wanted, or oh, this isn't Star Wars. It's like, it's not even the at the end of the day, it's Space Wizards. It's not as bad as you're making it out to be.
Yeah,
Like, that's the thing. Like, we just talked about a bunch of stuff in episode 6 that we
that
we
was
really
awesome.
liked.
Yeah, yeah,
Really liked. I mean, people saying there's bad choreography in this fight, in the fights. Like, again, going into episode 7, like, I saw people saying like there was nothing good in that episode. It's like, dude, if you didn't like that Wookiee fight, like,
the fight, the lightsaber duels and fights in this show have been beyond comparison to what was in the sequel trilogy. You know what I mean?
yes,
Like granted, those characters were new. I mean, obviously Rey was new to using a lightsaber, but like Kylo Ren had been using a lightsaber for a while.
I,
And like they were sloppy, chopping everything. The lightsabers didn't hurt anybody. They just gave them little scars on the face. Like, come on. I think this show has done a lot better with lightsaber duels, the effects of a lightsaber. You know what I
I
mean?
agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Even like, I think people aren't giving it enough credit. I mean, I think people don't give The Last Jedi enough credit in this sense, but like, there's a lot of like, again, the breaking lore, not what George wanted, blah blah blah, and it's like, even the show itself, the title Acolyte. I just found this out this past week, comes from a term used specifically, like, it's a real word. Like, don't get me wrong, like, they
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
make it
yeah.
up, but like, it comes from the Knights of the Old Republic video game. It was a term in that series. Like,
Oh
like we're not watching Knights of the Old Republic, but to
no,
say they took something derived from a Legends material
yeah,
video game, like I just don't know how. And there's so many things like that, including stuff in episode 7, which we discussed. Like, we'll get into good and bad of that, but there's actually a lot of details in this show that are so Star Wars like focused and so for the fans,
yeah.
that you're just so angry about the wrong things. And my biggest complaint, and Brendan, I appreciate you listening to me while I get this out, but my biggest complaint is that people complaining about the show just because you then drown out constructive criticism like we
Boom.
might give for episode 7 in a minute, because then that doesn't help anyone.
Yeah,
We'll probably get season 2 of this, and for better or for worse, it probably won't matter what any of us think. Like I would love to say, here's some things that could help make it better, but I think the what is it called, the loud minority are so loud, and in this case it's obnoxious fans, are so loud, like, any constructive criticism is just going under the bridge, just
yeah,
getting drowned out.
yeah. Everybody's got their hard point of view, and they're not making any room for any sort of change of heart, like the dead set Star Wars, like Star Wars theory.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I think it's a shame, and I love to talk about it more at some point, but like, I think at the end of the day, and I'll throw a shout out to Thank the Maker Yellow Cards podcast, which is a great Star Wars podcast for anyone that
Shout
doesn't
out.
know. Great. Like, it's so funny. Yellow Card, great giant band, right? Their Star Wars podcast gets like 20 views. It's so
Really?
funny.
Wait,
It's like,
it's the band Yellow
it's
Card that
the
does it? Oh,
band.
really? Wow,
Like, but they're just such Star Wars nerds. They have
that's
their own
awesome.
podcast. It's great. Um, but like, they talked about, they bring it up all the time, and they're like, look, it's not as bad as you think it is. You
Yeah,
just don't like new Star Wars, and that's okay.
I think that's also a big thing. People just have had such a sour taste of the new Star Wars that has been coming out that one thing bad happens in an episode and they're like, all right, this is trash. I'm done. Like
Yeah,
nothing can, and it's just they're fixed on everything being negative and they don't
and,
see the positive.
and this show is so mostly disconnected from the main movies.
Yeah,
It's so insane to me that you would say it breaks canon or
it's like this
continuity or
this
lore.
really has nothing to do with any of anything that
Yes.
goes on in the future.
The most, and we like, I don't even think it's fair to make this assumption yet because the show's not over and we
Yeah,
haven't seen the rest of the show. But like the most you can say is they have taken one of the council members of the prequels and you found out he was part of a conspiracy theory. And
yeah.
is that a bad thing to give him depth as a character?
And mind you, a character that maybe has, I think, one line throughout the trilogy,
I
three
think he has
lines.
I think he has one line in each prequel movie. And Brendan, this is gonna blow your mind here. He might have 3 lines in this fucking show too. Like, it's not like we fleshed him
Yeah,
out beyond like
it's not like he was the one like making the cover ups or anything.
he's
He was
not
just aware of the cover up.
he's just in the goddamn room. He's
He
just
might as well have been
there.
making a pot of coffee and overhearing it. You know what I mean? Everybody would be like, "Oh, nope, 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 continuity error."
It kind of it just baffles me that people are that upset. That's the other thing too, is like that to along the kid, I can't say one word of his name because I don't know what part is what word.
I think it's
But like along
Kaya
with
Mundi, I
him,
think is his name.
like the same idea. There are plenty of people that are angry that the Jedi are coming off negatively in the show, and it just baffles me that
Yeah,
like that's the whole concept of
yeah.
the fall of the Jedi.
Is they started getting mixed in with politics. They started covering stuff
Yes,
up. They started doing they started doing not so Jedi type things, and thus the fall of the. You know what I mean? Like
like this could be seen as the actual fall. Like
yeah,
this series, this moment could be seen as what is the actual fall that the snowball effect into
yeah.
what leads to the Clone Wars and the actual fall of the Jedi Order.
Because I
And it's
mean,
like you're
Dor-
so angry that they're not 100% angel good guys
yeah,
that you can't see that.
because like during this time they weren't affiliated with the I, I, I lost it. What's the
The Senate.
Senate? There we go. They're not affiliated with the Senate during this show. They're just like their own sort of separate entity that also like does favors for the Senate. It seems like at least like they're their
That's
own
what
like almost like police force basically.
I
Like
took it as like, and I don't know if this is one, like, I don't know, but like my take is similarly like they are just establishing their working relationship. And so
yeah,
that's why in that episode with Kia Diamante, god damn, never thought I'd say that name so much. But like in the episode with him, they're like, oh, we'd have to report it to the Senate. It's because like they just fucking started. It's like he's your new boss, and you're
yeah,
like, we can't, like, we just got hired. I can't hide it from him.
yeah. It's
So I think that's and I would love to talk about episode 7 because I do have constructive criticism, and I just I think it's important for people that just kind of I guess sometimes you gotta just take a step back, man.
yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Just go with the flow with these shows. You know what I mean? Like don't bring all this hate from like the sequel trilogy and stuff like that. I know those shows sucked or those movies. I mean, not well. I don't think they all suck. Don't get me wrong. But
Don't give it up. Patreon,
yeah,
Patreon, sequel
Patreon.
trilogy reviews coming soon.
But I think that hate from those sequel trilogies and everything, and like Obi-Wan and stuff like that, just
It's just
really took people's point of view and just skewed it because they're like, well, this isn't Star Wars. This isn't, you know what I mean? This isn't what we grew up on. It's like, well, no, because this is what other people are now growing up on. So
and that's you nailed it, dude. You
yeah,
nailed it. It is quite literally like it's the next generation's thing, and like you can either keep on for the ride like we are because I just enjoy Space Wizards, or you just go back to what you like and you stick
and
with it,
just
dude.
watch
And
it
it's
that.
like
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
no,
Like
exactly.
people hated the prequels when they came
And
out,
that's I
man.
was literally just about to say that. I was like, diehard Star Wars fans hated Episode 1, and people waited for what the last movie came out in 81, I think, something like
Oh
that. So
man, I
like
wish I yeah.
20 years. Like they waited 20 years for that movie and they were so disappointed about it. But you know what? They still went and saw the second one. They
Yep.
still went and saw the third
Yep.
one. So
I actually wanted to my last point because there's like and it goes into the Kia Diamante stuff. Like for people saying this doesn't make sense, ruins his character. How could that be? He wasn't even born yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would just love to point out something that is still canon, mind you, which is in episode 6 when Luke asks Leia about her mother and she says things she remembers.
yes.
And then fast forward to George Lucas then retconning that in episode 3 when Padme dies at childbirth.
Yeah.
George did that.
Yeah.
He's the creator,
He's
I
the
get
creator.
it, but
Yeah.
like that those two scenes are both still canon.
Yeah.
So
What yeah,
five
exactly. Yeah.
head in the prequels versus in this series, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an excellent point.
By the way, great hat. I don't think I realized which hat you had on. I just
Oh,
would
thank
say
you.
love it. Love it. Great hat.
It's what the batting practice hat now, I think,
It's
right?
the
Or
I
the
don't know
warm
if
up.
that's what they did, but it was the Fanatic's birthday. They
Oh, is
released
that
that
what
for
they
his
did?
birthday.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize they have.
They might wear it for batting practice, but they actually wore it in game for his birthday.
Mm,
Great hat.
thank you. I got it for my birthday. All right. So jumping into episode 7, the most recent episode of the Acolyte. Pull my
Choice.
this. Yeah. I'm just not a fan of the flashback. I guess this episode to me feels like a filler episode, but it's not a filler episode. You
But
know
it
what I
drives
mean?
the whole
Like
show.
it drives exactly. This is the
Yeah.
story that's driving the whole
That
show,
was
but it
yeah.
feels like a filler episode.
It dude, it's my oh, oh. There's so many and you know what? For a full comprehensive breakdown, and I know we've already mentioned them like 3 times. I tip my hat to New Rockstars. Go
Yes.
watch the New Rockstars video because it is so in depth. There is actually so many things in this episode that are subtly different from the original flashback that when you notice it, you're like, shit, okay, so like that's important because of this. This is important because of that.
Yeah.
But they're too subtle, and that's the issue. And I kind of hinted at that with the Kill Naka Mad Claw thing.
Yeah.
We're Star Wars fans. We're pretty damn nerdy Star Wars. I have a wall of goddamn lightsabers. I don't know Mad Claw before this thing happened.
Yeah.
And
No.
like to tell me that was the entire like that's why he's on oh my god, what is the word called when he's
Exile.
exile, thank you. He's exiled because he gave Corbin bitch, by the way, because he gave Corbin Mad Claw.
Yeah.
And like and or you know, whatever. I don't know how the
Use his
verb
claw
is
to
used.
yeah, whatever.
but like that's not something we as hardcore fans know, let alone an average viewer. And
Exactly. Yeah.
another huge issue. Corbin, which I is the pat is Trinity's Padawan.
Yes.
Corbin commits suicide in episode 2 because of what was done in this episode. And he didn't really do
He
anything.
didn't do any. He wasn't. I
like,
mean, really, none of them, other than Soul, were compliant in what happened. You know,
that's what the only person that I can see who is justifiably guilty is Soul because he kills the one mother witch.
Yeah.
And I can see that is, that's definitely, it's too loud, it's super obvious. It's supposed to be compared to a cop pulling his weapon out on an innocent person. For sure, that's what that's supposed to compare to.
Yeah.
But even that, I don't think is accurate because the witch was about to do a spell of some sort. And he doesn't fucking know. Like, to me, that's like
that
if
looked like
someone
a
actually
threat.
pulled a weapon on the cop.
Exactly.
And then it's like does that cop, that Jedi, feel guilty? Absolutely. but they're justified in that action. And I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that got political. I didn't mean to,
Yeah.
but like, but it, like, literally, like, he thought he was being attacked, and so he's going to live with that guilt for sure. But
Yeah.
like, that doesn't feel like cover up, lie to the order worthy.
No, yeah, that would be like, yeah, she was doing some crazy shit, so I went, okay, this is my time. Like he was like, I thought she was attacking me. What she was doing was like she turned into like a ghost basically, but
Turn
like
into
a
it's
demon form of the or whatever, like a demon force ghost, and like obviously his first reaction would be like, I have to kill this thing, like
he has the most natural
yeah,
instinct, which is fuck this ghost.
ignite my lightsaber and shove it through this ghost's torso.
Look, I played Phasmophobia. I know Kayla's played like, I think the first thing you do when you see a ghost is go,
Is
fuck
go,
that.
yeah, that fuck that, I'm out.
And Soul reacted with his lightsaber.
Yeah,
It's truly like, again, especially you could have had such a great storyline of his guilt comes from he killed Osha's mother.
yeah,
Like, what a great,
like
like, heart pulling, but
like
not
unprovoked. You know what I mean? Like
correct.
yeah,
It is a true guilt, but
yeah,
like their focus is on the wrong thing, is what
yeah,
it feels like. And to have Corbin, oh my god, the thing with Corbin that throws me, I cannot believe I needed a new rock star to tell me this, because like when you watch the video on its own, Corbin's like, oh, I've been here for 7 weeks. I want to go home. And then he's like, oh, we can go home. We just need to take these kids with us. And so he starts this whole thing. And it's like, that's why he feels guilty. But you're like, dude, you were way too impatient. Like it
yeah,
doesn't make sense. But then New Rockstars explains, oh, they name dropped his planet was a mining planet. And
yeah.
so
And it
he
was like,
doesn't like
how are we
being
supposed to
here.
know that? Yeah,
Yeah. Like he doesn't like being here because it reminds him of his childhood, which he didn't like, and blah 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 blah. It's like, how the fuck did I know
yeah,
that?
yeah. I don't know. That was a mining planet.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a lot of lore in this show that, and like not lore, but like backstory to these characters that they're not doing a very good job at explaining up in front. You know what I mean? I feel like
yeah.
they made this show thinking people would dive into the like what New Rock Stars and Screen Crush are doing, deep diving into the every not lyric, every word in the script, but like not everybody's gonna do that. Not everybody has the time to do that. Not
No.
everybody catches on to that stuff. Like
And I truly think that like this episode on its own isn't terrible. Like
yeah,
if this was its own thing by itself, its own 40 minutes of Star Wars, like you'd be like, "Oh wow, that was a great lightsaber fight. Some interesting things happened. We saw witches in action for like the second time ever. Like that's cool. I sure would love to know about these characters, but now you put this in the second to last episode of the
yeah,
series and it's like, what?
yeah.
Like
What is it? Huh?
and we talked about earlier, like we're not going to find out enough about Chimera for sure, and that's probably going to go into season two. And
Yeah,
there are certain things you can wait for season two, right? Like certain things like that. But when your entire season one is driven by this flashback, to not have the answers to the show for that flashback is not okay.
yeah, no,
Like you have to wrap up that event. That like if this ends with Chimera and Osha going off to do dark side things, that's great. But like I never want to hear about the witches and this event ever again.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. The next season definitely just better be a Chimera story and not.
I just I don't know. And then that's the like I don't have any idea how what their ending is going to be because I don't even know where we're going from this.
Yeah,
So
what?
we got the flashback episode. Oh, and that's the other thing, man. This episode, again, talk about subtle differences. They point out that like Soul reacts the way he reacts because he truly thinks the children are in danger.
Yeah,
And it's like I kind of get that when I watched it on my own, but like it's not great. It's like, oh, it's the same thing I already saw, but Soul is like super like he's on edge or concerned and it's kind of weird. But like when you compare the two episodes side by side, which I didn't do, but like when you do that, you can see like the mother witches come off lovingly from the child's point of view, but they
And
come
then
out
from his point of view, they come off like mean and
hostile.
exactly. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, that's not, that needed to be driven home more,
Yeah.
that that was what was happening. The change in the scene was not clear enough to me as a
Because
viewer
when she
at all.
when the horned lady
Yep.
comes up to them in the forest and is like, in the original episode, she's like, "You two need to come with me," or whatever. She's like, "Hey, you two need to come back," like in a like stern but nice way. But in
It's
this
like, what
one,
are you
it's like
doing out here?
exactly, But like in the one where it's from Soul's perspective, she's like, "Get out of here," and but that was what, 5 episodes ago. So I don't remember what her temperament was when, you know what I mean? Like I
Exactly.
don't remember what her temperament was when she said that line. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, she was kind of a bitch. Like I was like,
Uh,
you know,
yeah, dude. Because like that's a great like that's great. Like when I watch these shows, and mind you, I'm a mega, like, we're mega nerds, right?
yeah,
Like I tend to watch the previous week's episode before the new one comes out. So
okay,
like today, I watched episode 7 before episode 8 drops tomorrow.
yeah.
Like I'll typically do that. I don't go and watch the whole goddamn season
See what,
every week.
exactly, yeah,
Like I don't like the what was it? Destiny was episode 3. That
yeah.
was 4
Four
episodes
episodes ago,
ago.
yeah.
I don't like it was the differences were way too subtle, and it was just not at all clear enough what was happening.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have needed a new Rockstar's video to make me realize this was good,
yeah,
because that's how I felt afterwards. I was like,
yeah. I was like,
damn,
oh,
some of
this
this
makes
was pretty
sense.
cool.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
that's not how that works.
they compared it to Rashomon, the Japanese film. I had to watch it in college, and there are subtle, like I remember when I was watching it, I was like, this is kind of like Rashomon, how it's like different points of view from different characters of the same event, but it's also not, because that movie was way better and way more well written, even for something made in like the 1940s. So
Right. Um it's really a shame. Because I think I even would argue that if you take out the 2 flashback episodes and just leave the flashback like as a complete mystery we don't solve,
yeah,
like that makes the show better.
yeah.
Like
It,
I'm still on edge wondering what's happening. Like
I guess I would rather not know what had happened that night,
correct.
and just be like, something not evil, but something non-Jedi like happened that night. You know what I mean?
Like
Like,
even the May and Osha force grab by Soul, right? Like Soul goes and tries to grab, and first of all,
he could
I
easily have
get
just
it. I get it. You grab the kids and you I get it.
yeah,
But
I've
I would
done
argue,
we've
I
all
would
done that.
argue
We've all done that in Jedi Survivor. Just yoink,
we've
just
we've all Jedi Survivor. Yeah, you just use the Force and pull every droid near you. Um, which I'll do a quick shout out. Me, I've been Twitch streaming again, so
oh,
link.
the Zach's
But
Twitch stream is in the description.
thanks, Brennan.
Make sure to grab it.
But I would argue very easily. You're in the heat of the moment. You just murdered this mom.
Yeah,
You're trying to live. I don't discredit him grabbing the bridge. I don't think that's bad writing. I think that's instinctively reacting. Now,
yeah.
could that be faulty writing? I'm not saying no. Like, sure. But like I could buy that I would make a dumbass mistake like not grab the
He's not
kids.
thinking clearly in that moment. He's just, oh, they're about to fall. I need to hold it up.
Right.
Like,
And to that point too, like people are I saw someone complain about that and they go, "Oh, he caught her when she was falling in episode 1." And that's the point.
yeah,
Like the point is he's not going to let that happen again. And so he does catch her with the Force in episode 1 cuz like
that's a good
I
catch.
can't like
That's a good catch.
it's definitely supposed to be intentional. And
Yeah.
like that is the kind of shit that again I applaud Leslie Headland for those kind of
I didn't even think
ideas.
about that. Like that he didn't even hesitate. He was just like, gotcha. Like not
Yes.
happening
And
again. Like,
and you can only have that moment by having the mistake and living and learning from that mistake. Like that,
yeah.
I'm actually okay with that weirdness that you want to argue, like that people like for that part of the episode. I just Corbin and Kilnaka got done dirty, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It got done dirty. And even uh when God damn, I wish I knew Trinity's name in the show, but even when
Yeah, I
Trinity
forget
at
her
the end of
name.
the episode goes, we tell them the truth. May burn. We didn't even talk about the fire. Hold on, sorry, we gotta get to the fire. But even when Trinity does the whole like,
We tell them
we
what
tell them
happened.
the truth, may
Yeah,
burn down the temple. I just had a moment of like, she did burn down the
that's what
temple.
happened. Yeah.
That is what happened. Like, we are
That
not
is
lying in any way right now. Like,
yeah.
what is the cover
But
up?
yeah. It was like, wait, you guys did not do that. Like that was 1000% her.
Yeah, no, it okay. This is really random, but like I don't know if you noticed the
Oh, did it
lightsaber
go
ran
out?
out of battery
Oh, right.
throughout this one. It just died.
I thought it got a
I
little
love it.
low. I thought the light got a little lower,
It got a little dull. It got a
a
little
little
dull.
dimmer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It was, and actually another thing too to that, like kind of a what just happened moment. Like, so Trinity saves Kilnaka by using the Force to push out the witches from his
Yeah,
mind. Which that I'm like that makes sense to me. Like, yeah, Force magic. She can
yeah.
like heal him. Like I
That was a
totally buy
cool.
that.
That was a cool imagery too of them like swaying and her just pulling
I
that out of
also
him, and
really
then
like
just
that.
them. I didn't know how they
My
died from that, but,
that was my
yeah.
issue though. Was like that killed them.
Wouldn't that
Like
just sever their connection? It wouldn't
right.
kill them
Like
unless they were trapped in his head. I don't know.
I don't. That's a yeah. I thought that was a. I thought that was a weird like it didn't like yeah. And then the fire, man. I she just set it on fire. Like
I guess she was it.
there
There was
was
the
nothing.
it was the Jedi symbol that was on her like diary or whatever that was, and she was just like fuck this and burn it, and was like, oh, it's on fire. Let me throw
That's
it
what
instead of put it out. Like,
it when the first flashback in the first in episode 3 we see the fire with like things cut out because we're seeing Osha's point of view, and there's so many like we had so many like back and forths of like, oh, was May possessed, does someone else start the fire, and
mhm.
May's just kind of near it when it happens and runs away, like so many like it makes you think, how did this fire really start? And then you see this episode and May started the fire.
She
She
just
just she
she's
just
like
fucking started the May started the fire.
she went fuck your book shit and threw it.
And like I have no problem with that. That's very like a kid
Yeah, oh
has
yeah,
a kid thinks one thing, and like I saw people being like, well, Meg was so surprised. Yeah, dude, she's like 9. Like,
yeah.
yeah, she's like, I'm gonna set
Shit.
you on fire. Like,
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna do it. Oh my god, I
it's
did it.
actually happening.
Like that's totally believable.
Yo, yeah.
What was stupid is that they set up like there's some grand mystery to the fire
And it
when
was
she
just
just
her
did
being
it.
a kid. Like
Yeah.
it
I
was
yeah,
the
I
equivalent. It was the equivalent of her playing with matches. Like
and that's like I think again to go back to like the constructive criticism of this, like I don't give a shit that the brick building burned down. Like the people hyping on that, that's the wrong thing.
yeah.
We should be questioning, why did they give us this like fake back and forth on what happened when it was just exactly as it was presented the first time?
See, I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't even think about that during the episode. I guess I didn't catch on um that it was a mystery in in the third episode. I guess I just never
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't catch on to that. So I was like, was just like, oh yeah, she was a kid that lit a piece of paper on fire, and then I guess I saw all that backlash, and I was like, why is everybody so mad? That makes
That's
sense
it.
though. That makes
It
sense.
it it just it was another thing they presented to us that was then not, I guess, delivered. Like it's they made questions they didn't have to make, is really
Yeah,
what it comes down to.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of like it's like Marok showing up in Ahsoka and then never unmasking him. That
Yeah.
didn't
And
really
just
matter,
yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
why have a mask if
Why
we're not going to see under it? You know what I mean?
exactly. Why have him in it if it's not gonna pay off?
Like that was very minor and easily swept under the rug.
Yes.
Whereas this was, we had the mystery of Osha, we had the mystery of the fire, we had the mystery of Kilnaka, we had the mystery of Corbin, and it was just shit happened.
Just
Like
yeah.
it really was just like Accidents happen, man. That should have been the title of the episode.
Accidents happen. Hey,
Accidents happen.
shit lights on fire even in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, that shit went up.
Like I feel like half of it was made out of rock. Like, how did that all light on fire?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's I just yeah, and you know what's and I truly think I'm gonna like the finale. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I think they're gonna go back to the present.
I
We're gonna
hope
have
they
this
do.
kick-ass fight.
And we're gonna find out what's the deal with Chimere. Maybe like a hint. I have a feeling, you know how they've been dropping like super lore stuff. I have a feeling he's gonna drop a super lore line, and then New Rockstars or Screen Crusher, one of them is gonna come out and be like, he's Tenebrous' apprentice, or he's, because a lot of people are talking about he might be the original Knight of Ren and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Which I love that idea.
They've been playing Kylo's theme a lot in the episodes.
Yeah.
So.
I love that, like that he's calling himself a Sith, but he's not a Sith. I mean, that goes straight to the Knights of Ren. Like it's a great point that in the Star Wars lore, red crystals are created out of anger. Like that's how they're made. I've talked about before. They're created out of anger. They're created using the dark side, but that doesn't mean you're a Sith. So he's like, you can call me a Sith, but like really Terabon, I'm never gonna say his name, but Tanabon.
Cinnabon over here.
Cinnabon over there and Plagueis are out skipping rocks and picking daisies while this guy's like, I'm a Sith, and they're just like, oh yeah, they're just like, oh yeah. Like
I heard a wild theory. Someone's thought that Chimere is Plagueis, because I don't like that. I mean, obviously, I don't think that's ever gonna come true. I don't think that's real, but because number one, Plagueis is a Mun. I think they're like the really tall, thin ones. They run the banks.
They're not. Plagueis and Cinnabon are not human.
Yeah,
neither of them are.
And someone was like, well, he could have blah 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 used the no. That's not gonna. He could have used like the dark side to change himself. No.
Have you seen have you seen the newest music videos for 21 Pilots?
Oh yeah.
Tanabarn's using the antlers to mind control the Chimere.
That would be an excellent crossover, but
but so here's my thing is regarding that. I think Chimere is gonna. I think you actually said it. I think he's gonna name drop. I don't think we're gonna see anyone. I think he's gonna name drop. I've been working with this guy Plagueis. I've been working with this guy Tanabon. Like something like that. I don't think we're actually gonna see them. I don't think he is them. However, what I really don't want to see is, because I like Chimere as his own character. I don't need him connected to them. If you want to make him,
I would honestly rather prefer it be him being like a Knight of Ren or just some other weird sect of Sith. Like
I don't want to see them kind of course correct in season 2 is what I'm trying. Like I don't want season 2 to come in and Plagueis shows up and is like, he's been my Padawan the whole time. It's like, no, if he's not supposed to be there, don't. Like
exactly.
Like stick with your story. And that's I mean might be getting a little into the sequel trilogy venting in there, but like just stick to what your story is, and if it's good, it's good. Like that's I truly, like, that's my hope is, maybe don't have flashbacks in the next season, because that wasn't just strong.
Just stick to the present in this one.
But stick with Chimere in the present.
Yeah.
Are you do you, so we've talked a couple of times. I guess, do you have anything else episode 7 related?
Not really. I mean, I just wanted to mention, I thought the witches were cool. I thought that was a nice little addition into the Star Wars, like universe of what else is out there other than like the Jedi, the Sith, and I mean we know about the Night Sisters from Clone Wars and all that. I thought that was a cool little addition. I kind of also like that we don't know a lot about them. Yeah, they're like a huge mystery to us. They explained some things, but not really. So I the whole scene where they were like almost like meditating over that dark portal, like that dark hole thing. Almost reminded me of the hole from that Ray went into. It's
Yeah,
like the dark side
very.
thing. I was like, that's pretty cool and a cool like little not analogy, but like a throwback from the sequel trilogy. Not throwback, but I guess like a reference from the sequel trilogy.
Reference, homage
Homage,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
Um, but no, I just thought they were a cool addition to the show. They, I wish they weren't in it, but
Really?
because it took away from the Chimere story.
Oh, sure, sure, sure,
Um,
sure, sure. Yeah,
but
we yeah.
but since we had this other storyline, I'm glad they were in that storyline.
I do like. I mean, you like we said it earlier. Like, I wish it was either their show or his show.
Yeah,
I wish they were separated because they feel like they should have been separated. I agree. I like the witches, and I also like that they're new. I actually just, I think it was today. It might have been yesterday or recently, but I think it was today. I saw George Lucas, who was actually more involved in Clone Wars than you might think. The general knew you, not you, not you.
not
Um,
you.
but like George Lucas had like quite a bit of like I'll say like editing power for Clone Wars. And him and Filoni, this I don't know when this interview was. They were asked like, "Hey, what was your favorite like Clone Wars thing?" And like George kind of liked Filoni's answer of like he liked the when he got to do the son, the daughter, and or not the daughter, the son, yeah, the son, the daughter,
Son,
and the
daughter, and the
father
father.
story
Yeah.
arc. He
Mhm.
said because it was something completely new and
Yeah.
that felt Star Wars to him. And I love that like that idea. Like these are
Yeah.
new witches. We don't need the exact same. We don't need the Night Sisters every time. Love the Night Sisters.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
Hey, great
Love it.
crowd, but
Great.
don't
Yeah.
need him this one.
But like I liked
Wonderful people. They're great.
dude, that's not going into it, but wild.
My
Wild.
left ear's kind of hurting.
Oh my God. I'm just leaving it at I'm leaving it at I like that it's a completely new thing. I like that it's different.
Yeah,
I yeah, I just I stick with either more time needed to be put on them or take them out entirely.
exactly. Yeah. No, I've never heard that. I've never heard that Dave Filoni quote, and I think that's a cool thing to hear from the show because I remember seeing that episode, their episodes for the first time, like with the brother, the sister, and
That they're
the
weird.
Mortis gods, and I remember being like, this is like I thought it was a dream at first, like a dream sequence at first, and
Yeah.
like I was like, what the hell? This is nothing like we've ever seen in Star Wars, like God, like I know they weren't gods, but they were like physical representation of the Force. So I was like, this is so cool. This is such a interesting, idea to have. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we saw that there, and seeing it possibly live action in Ahsoka since we saw the
Yeah.
statues at the
They
end. So
started I don't think they're filming. I think they started casting. That was
okay,
public because
I
they're
I don't.
recasting Balin.
Okay, they are okay.
Mhm.
Not to say good. I feel terrible that Ray. I forget his name. I forget the actor's name. I feel terrible
Not that
about that.
terrible.
But um, he was a great actor. I think
Yes,
he
he
was a
was.
great great portrayal of this new character. But I'm glad they're not just scrapping him. They're recasting the character, telling this story further on. I think whoever they pick will more than likely do the character justice. So yeah.
Yeah. I well said. 100% agree. I agree with all that.
Yeah, that's all I got for these two episodes. I'm looking forward to episode 8, the finale, but I don't have high hopes.
I
I'll
don't
say
have
that.
high hopes either, but I will actually say I am more excited having rewatched episode 6 because I was reminded, oh shit, I actually like the modern day story.
Yeah,
Like
and which is hopefully what I mean. I guess we won't be doing. Hopefully, won't be doing
psych
another flashback.
psych it's a flashback.
It's a
We don't even
third,
get any the last thing we see in the present day is her putting on the helmet.
and that's how season 2 opens up. Is her taking the helmet off? Like, oh, I would turn the episode off immediately if it opens up in a flashback. Um,
I can't. I don't need I don't
Oh,
want any flashbacks either. Like I don't want
no,
a flash. I don't want to. There's one more thing I didn't tell you. Like no fucking don't.
nope,
Like no.
nope.
Just
Just
give
give
me
me
the meat and
the
potatoes.
yeah.
Give me the meat and potatoes and fucking bring it home, man.
Give me the dark side, give me the light side, give me the duels, give me give me the force talk. I don't want any flashbacks. I don't want any more. I liked the witches. Don't want any more witches. But no, I'm excited, but I'm not confident in the outcome
No,
of this
I
episode.
that is yep. Well said. I think it might be good. I think it might
Yeah,
be. I think it might be. I no. I do think it'll at least be better than episode 7, and I think it'll end on a higher note than we're on right now. Or it's a
I like that.
flashback and we never watch
Or
another episode.
it's 30 years before. It's what happened to Soul when he was a Jedi young.
How did Soul get recruited? That's it all. You know what it is? It all started when I was born.
when I was when I was in the Squid Games. Isn't that the actor from the Squid Games, right? The yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping that reference made sense.
You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
great. You did it better than they did in this episode. That's for sure.
But yeah, that's everything I got. You
Yeah,
got
no.
anything else?
See you guys in the finale.
Yeah. We'll catch you in the next episode. We'll be breaking down the finale. We'll either be very happy or disappointed.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, catch you on the next one.